Hello there, Reject Nation. I'm Greg Alba. Tell them your name.
Lauren Francesca?
Lauren Francesca, who's been on this channel many a times, is back here today. We're going to watch a video from one of my favorite YouTube channels. It does these great list videos, these wonderful British guys.
Ooh.
The channel's called WhatCulture. Their video, 10 movies that changed because of actors' bad behavior.
Ooh.
I was in a short film with Lauren, something that you wrote, starred in. I can vouch that she has terrible behavior on set. If there's any like producers, directors, casting directors who are watching this video,
stop it.
Total chaos to work with.
True.
Major diva. Everything was being rewritten because it didn't make her look good enough. She can relate with this video. Lauren, I got your promos down. Don't worry.
All right. Don't make me look bad, Greg.
I'm not. No. People love honest. No, she's not like that at all. I wouldn't say that to her face if she was. Just behind her back.
Thank you, Greg.
Greg Alba style.
You would think that film studios would have a short fuse when actors refuse to do as they're told or simply turn up feeling obviously unenthusiastic.
Depends on how famous you are.
This is, after all, a performance game, where big bucks are showered on big talent in the interest of making big profit. If you were clearly working with sour ingredients, you would throw them out, as nobody likes a rotten egg. But sometimes studios and filmmakers have shown remarkable patience with their misbehaving actors. How many times have passionate situations on set boiled over into outright violence?
What happened on that set?
Like when Lawrence Tierney and Quentin Tarantino came to blows without anyone getting sacked. It's just counted as a bit of a blip and everyone dusts themselves off and gets on with it. Not always, though. Sometimes actors do something so bad on set that the whole movie is changed to accommodate them, presumably because firing them would have just been too easy.
Of course.
In that case, then, I am the office brawler, Ash from WhatCulture's new startup boxing division, and these are 10 movies that changed because of actors' bad behaviour. 10. Wesley Snipes' Blade Trinity behaviour.
I've heard a lot about this one. Have you?
Role.
Get ready.
The story of Wesley Snipes' time on Blade Trinity will live long in infamy well after everyone has forgotten how much of a disappointing mess that movie was. Thanks to the testimony of co-star Patton Oswalt, Snipes was non-compliant throughout the production and his integration was barely helped by his insistence on staying in character for the entire shoot. Presumably, Snipes' method approach identified Blade as being rather casual about his work schedule too, since Oswalt revealed that his absence fundamentally changed the movie. In his words, a lot of the lines that Ryan Reynolds has were just a result of Wesley not being there. After it all came to a head between Snipes and Goya, the crowning act of defiance by the former that necessitated a pre-done change to the film in post-production saw him refusing to open his eyes for one scene and them having to be superimposed onto his eyelids incredibly badly.
What? I didn't know that.
Right there. 9. Crispin Glover wouldn't read his lines in Charlie's Angels. Though he is an incredibly talented actor, Crispin Glover is largely known more for his apparent difficultness on movie sets than for his acting achievements. That's probably unfair because, in his words, all he did to get fired from Back to the Future 2 and replaced with a stand-in was ask a few questions nobody wanted him to ask, but mud sticks. Anyway, as I was questioning the ending of Back to the Future, Glover also pulled a Glover on Charlie's Angels when he decided that the script was so awful that he simply wouldn't participate in saying any of it.
Oh,
Rather
man.
than this aversion to the exposition-heavy nonsense he was being charged with saying costing him his job again, it just made for a huge change in his character.
They brought him back for the sequel.
His creepy thin man, a name possibly reflective of the writing quality here, simply became a mute, which ironically is about the only interesting character detail for him in the entire film. 8. Val Kilmer's ego killed the island of Dr. Moreau. People claiming to know lots about film will often tell you that the biggest issue with the island of Dr. Moreau was Marlon Brando. But Brando's strange performance choices and characterization demands were only part of the story. And to his credit, he did later admit that he was just trying to make his experience less boring. More of an issue for the doomed movie, whose original director apparently turned to black magic to ensure its success.
What?
Nobody ever said no to Val Kilmer. In a red-hot period of his career, and coming off the back of Batman Forever, Kilmer was the only other big fish brought in to ensure Richard Stanley's dream project got off the ground. Replacing Bruce Willis when he unexpectedly dropped out, Kilmer started bold, demanding his filming schedule was shortened Then when production was halted because of a tragedy in Brando's life, he swapped his role entirely to an easier one. And then he was reportedly rude and abrasive and would sit on the floor and refuse to get up.
What a
The
diva.
studio fired Stanley and handed the reins to veteran John Frankenheimer, who proved way too malleable to Brando's ridiculous suggestions to change the film. The results spoke for themselves, and it was all thanks to Val Kilmer acting up. 7. Channing Tatum's dancing changed a key "This Is the End" scene. Some of the Harry Potter
What?
cast have gone out of their way to put their most famous roles behind them by being consciously more edgy. In fact, Daniel Radcliffe has made something of an art of it. Emma Watson has done it a little, most notably in The Bling Ring, but the same year that film came out, she was also almost in a surprisingly dark movie that called for it to be pretty wholesome as part of the joke, since she'd be thrust into a boys' club cesspit, essentially. Surprisingly, when presented with the "This Is the End" script, she accepted it without issue, having legitimately read it. Unfortunately for her, so did Channing Tatum when presented with the opportunity to play a leather-clad dog. The two were supposed to share a scene around the point where Tatum's secret role was revealed, but Watson walked off set and refused to complete the scene because Tatum had apparently chosen to breakdance at her in his leather thong. The planned scene with them both never made it into the film. 6.
What? Is that
Jamie Foxx
real?
walked off the Miami Vice set
That
and
can't be
acting
real. What? That's ridiculous.
Whether you'd count this as bad behaviour per se is probably up for debate, given the circumstances. But had Jamie Foxx done what he was told, the end of 2006's Miami Vice would have definitely been different. That it might have also cost him his health or his life is also a key consideration. During
Okay.
the shoot, some sequences were filmed in the Dominican Republic, and one area was apparently so dangerous that it was deemed a no-go area by the local police. It didn't stop the filmmakers though, and they simply recruited local gang members to protect them. Somewhat unsurprisingly, the circumstances led to a police officer being shot, so
What?
Jamie Foxx walked off set and refused to film outside of
Good for him. That's not bad behavior. That's fucking smart.
He began to pick up a reputation for that in the wake of his Oscar win, so it didn't help his image. It also led to Michael Mann having to rejig his plans to shoot the finale in Paraguay, and it was all shot in Miami instead. Which sort of makes sense, what with the title and all. 5. Patrick Stewart roasted Star Trek Insurrection's script, and it changed.
Okay.
There are some things you'd probably pay attention to if you're working on a film script. Christian Bale bellowing insults at you and questioning your intellect would probably stink. So too would a withering put down from Judi Dench or Maggie Smith. But ranking highest of all has to be the polite but devastating letter penned by Sir Patrick Stewart. That's what faced Star Trek writer Michael Piller, who was hired to write Insurrection, having already written for the next generation. Unfortunately for him, experience counted for little, as his
guys
script
are
wasn't up to
so
Stewart's
funny.
expectations, and the captain sent him a letter ripping it to pieces. Now, loosen your belt for this absolute spanking, as I quote, "It has no surprises, it has no scale, it has little humour, and what it has is cliched and tired. It has no romance, it is not sexy, it breaks no new ground, it underuses our cast, it has little fun, it is dumb. I have taken detailed notes on the story, but really I feel that there is so little for us here to even start work on. I am very sorry my reactions are so negative, but they are so because my hopes to make this a superb film are so high." If it was anyone else, you'd count that as impertinence.
Hey, that's
but
kinda
Piller took it as
classy.
an invitation to rewrite the entire plot. Somehow, the dull nonsense that resulted was signed off on as good enough this time around. 4. Ben Affleck's fandom changed Gone Girl. Part of the whole acting thing is doing things you wouldn't normally do. Vin Diesel, for instance, is not a big tree. Daniel Day-Lewis was not a butcher. Tom Cruise is not a murderous assassin, probably. But for Ben Affleck, one requirement for his role in Gone Girl proved to be so much of a sticking point that his stubbornness shut down production for 4 days. And it was all down to a hat. The film called for Affleck's character to hide his identity in New York for a brief scene by wearing a Yankees cap. The only issue was that Affleck is a Red Sox fan and flat.
Oh my God.
By David Fincher to convince him. In the end, because Affleck couldn't do
That
it,
is so
and
ridiculous.
Affleck got to wear a Mets hat instead. I should probably tell him that it is all make believe.
It's a movie.
Worthington wanted to kill an owl in Clash of the Titans. You can say what you want about Sam Worthington, but he knows how to protect himself from making disastrous career choices. Oh, wait, actually, no, sorry, that is not entirely true, is it? It can't be, given his career trajectory after Avatar. Anyway, maybe it is still fair to say that he can identify potentially damaging career choices then, all the same, because he changed by being petulant and trying to injure a co-star that he didn't want to be upstaged by. That sounds psychotic until you realise that the co-star was a mechanical owl named Bubo. In the original, the goofy bird played a fairly key role, offering comic relief, but in the remake, he's relegated to a 15-second cameo that we are all very angry about. So what gives?
Yes.
Well, Worthington apparently hated Bubo so much, according to director Louis Leterrier, that he kept threatening it with physical violence and trying to damage it a little bit to make it unusable.
What?
In the end, his hooliganism paid off and the director agreed to cut the metallic out. And the whole film was ruined because of it. 2. Faye Dunaway refused to shoot a new ending.
Oh, well, Faye Dunaway kind of has a reputation.
Because Faye Dunaway's flat-out refusal to do as she was told actually came after the completion of the movie and sabotaged plans to change the ending to the director's new requirements. After years of being reportedly difficult to work with, Dunaway appeared in tepid thriller The Temp in 1993 opposite Lara Flynn Boyle and Timothy Hutton. It wasn't good, and she ended up winning a Razzie, so you can probably forgive her wanting to get it out of the way as quickly as possible. Unfortunately for director Tom Holland, that meant his change of heart on the original ending,
Different
which
Tom
saw
Holland,
Flynn
yes.
Boyle and Masters the killer, to switch her character in as the real killer couldn't be done. According to her book, when the suggestion came up out of the realisation that the film didn't work as it had been shot, Dunaway simply stopped taking the studio's calls until they agreed with her, and she remained a victim in the other new ending that they shot. So basically, digging your heels in and work. 1. Marlon Brando hated Apocalypse Now, so he sabotaged it.
It's considered one of
Marlon
his best
Brando is
performances.
pretty much
but
the
okay.
poster boy for on-set misbehaviour thanks to a couple of notorious movies and his apparent reluctance to do anything that would in any way compromise Marlon's brand. Good that, isn't it? Anyway, on Apocalypse Now, Brando was very much only one ingredient in a big disastrous soup that should have never ended up being a finished film, let alone a great one, yet it remains so.
It's crazy
He probably
how
wasn't
great
even
this
the
movie
worst
turned
part of it
out.
all either, but such is the size of his mythology that it's what most people talk about. Brando couldn't memorise his lines, which was one thing, but he also notoriously turned up massively overweight, so Francis Ford Coppola had to dress him in black, bathe him in shadow, and shoot mostly just his face. He was essentially forced to hide his biggest draw. There's some debate over how much Brando was misbehaving and how much his reputation was unfairly attributed as such in hindsight, because his disruption of the shoot and refusal to stick to a schedule actually also led to him rewriting a good deal of the script. And it's not like it's a bad script or a bad film in the end, so maybe you take the rough with the smooth. And that's our list. Which of these
He showed up
the most shocking?
massively overweight.
I've been Ash,
You know,
and
it's-
this has been WhatCulture. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe.
Yes.
and
Subscribe.
watch out for
Doodle.
Eldritch Horrors
Very
and
good,
Eldritch
Lord.
Horrors. Global warming is real, everyone.
Subscribe! That's what they sound like!
I like her channel. I can't even do it. I like this channel. This is a good channel.
The thing they brought up about Brando, Ryan Gosling was cast in a movie called The Lovely Bones, directed by Lord of the Rings' Peter Jackson. Gosling put on like 30 pounds
Really?
for the role. There's like photos of him on like a red carpet or something showing he gained a bunch of weight. Peter Jackson was like, what'd you do? You're fired. and
really?
then they got Mark Wahlberg to star in the movie.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah, so Ryan Gosling was originally going to be in it, but he had an interpretation of the character. It sounds like Brando just gained weight in real life and just showed up that way, whereas Gosling had a character choice, and they were like, no,
Are you
no.
sure it was really a character choice? Maybe he just gained weight and was like, oh, I see this character as a little heavier, no?
Ryan Gosling spoke out and talked about that, and Peter Jackson had talked about it too, that this was because Ryan Gosling's a pretty fit guy.
Yeah, he's a really fit guy.
So,
Poor
yeah.
Ryan Gosling. He went through he gained like 30 pounds for the movie and then got fired. That sucks.
I'm sure it's a good journey though to gain all that weight. I'm sure it's fun. You've never had to gain weight for a role?
I guess eating all that food would be really fun. You know,
It's fun in
eating
the moment.
and not working out. That'd be great.
Yeah, I did that for many years. It's a great feeling.
I love that.
The best one on here, like
Ben
easily,
Affleck.
the Ben Affleck
Yeah.
one. That's the funniest one.
He is a really big Red Sox fan. I didn't realize that.
Jeez, it's a movie though. It's a fucking movie.
I have a lot of friends from Boston, and they're really into sports.
Because you're from New York.
I'm from New York, so I know a lot of Red Sox fans. I mean, I don't really care. I'm not like a lot of New Yorkers are Yankee fans.
The characters he's hiding. It's not even about like, no, this is a character trait. It's just wouldn't rock a hat for like a couple of. I'm like, I don't even remember you wearing the hat in that movie, dude. It's just a hat.
He chose a Mets hat instead. I love that. That was funny.
That is, and they said they shut down production for 4 days because of it.
That's crazy.
Wow.
Are you a sports fan?
No, I don't care what it's a movie.
So you'd wear a Yankee hat.
I'd wear whatever hat you wanted me to wear. If it's in tune with the character to some degree, it doesn't matter because it's not even about the characters. He's just hiding his face. To me, that's just... This is a whole blown way out of proportion, dude.
Oh, God.
That is taking it way too far.
That's funny. Jamie Foxx, if you're going to be dangerous and somebody got shot, I would be scared to go to that location.
Yeah, you're walking onto... They said they had to hire gangsters to protect them. To me, that doesn't qualify. I mean, I get why it's on the list, but I wouldn't consider that bad behavior. Yeah, he uncooperated for a freaking reason, though.
He didn't want to get killed.
The possibility of getting killed, and then in your scene where you're supposed to have a bunch of fake gunfire too, that draws attention to you. That can be bad. There are some horror stories out there of like when movies portray like certain storylines about gangsters and then actors being threatened or whatever. I bet there are probably a lot of people, I'm sure there are people who are mad at him on it, but I bet there's a lot of people who are probably grateful that he did that.
Yeah.
Because a lot of other people are now no longer in danger either. I'm sure he wasn't the only one with that thought, right?
The production people were probably scared, but then didn't want to get fired, so that's why they didn't say anything.
But I'm sure at the end of the day, they probably were like really thankful.
I've been in situations like that. It was like a safety thing. You feel bad about it, but then you're like, oh, this is my safety. I don't want to talk about it on camera, but you have to always protect your safety.
I mean, when I was part of your short film, those were some serious conditions.
Yeah, your pants ripped, or you showed up with them ripped or something. Yeah, it was very...
Yeah,
you guys got to check that out.
Bad safety regulations at YouTube. I love this one with Crispin Glover for the Charlie's Angels movie of how he just thought the script was so bad. It sounds like such a Crispin Glover thing to do. What's funny to me is they brought him back for the sequel, so they clearly liked what he did.
But they replaced him with his stand-in. Like, wouldn't that be the coolest opportunity ever?
For Back to the Future, they replaced him with a stand-in.
That's so cool. Imagine being his stand-in and getting that chance to just book a major movie because the guy you're standing in for is just not...
That is unheard of. That is the only time I've heard of that ever happening.
He must have been a really cool guy to like get that
I guess so, man. I'm a little bit confused in the Emma Watson story. So she was supposed to have a scene with Channing Tatum but refused to do it because he was breakdancing while in revealing underwear or a thong or something?
Some leather,
And she just wouldn't have it? She thought it was...
I heard Channing Tatum is like the nicest guy, one of the nicest guys ever. And isn't he married? I don't know. I would do a scene with Channing Tatum. I wouldn't care. But would you care if he was in a leather thong?
Dude, I would be on the Magic Mike set any day. I feel like I gotta see him do that in person. That would be so cool. Emma Watson's career skyrocketed through the Harry Potter films, which I'm sure were the most professional sets you could ever been a part of. At the same time, though, they're on the set of This Is the End, which is a whole bunch of vulgar comic actors. You know what you kind of signed up for. But I mean, I guess it is unprofessional behavior if you're male flaunting your body like that or something.
Maybe she just liked him, Maybe she had a thing for Channing Tatum.
Yeah, and she was like, this is too tempting and not good for my reputation.
Exactly. I can't do it.
That's how you theorize.
Yeah.
Put it on the woman.
No, it's not putting it on the woman.
No. Channing Tatum's just that hot, you gotta walk away. I've heard about the Wesley Snipes ones a couple times. There were things I didn't know about with the whole superimposing his eyeballs.
That's craziness.
People were upset that he wasn't brought back for Blade. One thing is, it's a new Blade, whatever, you could say all that. At the same time, I'm like, well, everyone has horror stories about his Blade Trinity experience. Why would they want to bring that guy back when clearly he was so uncooperative on set the whole time?
I have to say, one of the first movies I did background on was Brooklyn's Finest.
Oh, nice.
And I sat down with Wesley, and he's the nicest, coolest guy. There was no drama. I mean, I worked on Brooklyn's Finest a few days. It was totally cool. I mean, he's also friends with the director, it was Antoine Fuqua that was directing it. He was really cool, and just in character of being the cool guy. When I met him on Brooklyn's Finest, he was awesome, and he sat and he talked to me. He took pictures with me. Nicest guy. Love Wesley Snipes.
Wow, that is cool. You know what? Changed my whole opinion.
Yeah.
How old were you when you went on this? Were you an adult?
I was probably about 18. Why?
I mean, just like popular actor talking with young, attractive actress.
Oh, so you think if I was a guy, he wouldn't be as nice?
Did you see him talking with any guys?
I mean, really wasn't paying attention.
I don't have a real thought here.
Faye Dunaway.
Faye Dunaway. That one stood out to you?
That one stood out to me because I've heard, I forget the movie she did where she played that woman that everyone hates, and she got a really bad rap, and she stopped getting a lot of work, and some executive told me, you got to be really careful with the roles you play, because if you play an evil character, people aren't gonna, they're gonna start hating you. So maybe after that movie, she just became obsessed with, not being the evil person.
I've heard she's very kooky in real life. I've heard countless crazy stories about Faye Dunaway. It's more than just she's difficult. It's just she's just kind of strange.
I feel a lot of actors are like that, though, because they have to be.
Especially, she comes from a different era, too. I know, I'm sure every era presents its weird obstacles for people growing in this industry, but she hit fame at a pretty young age. Over the years, it just seems like she went a little bit weird. It's just so theatrical, so dramatic about everything. Most of the stories just make me laugh. I guess the last one that really stood out to me was the Star Trek one. Yeah, he criticized the hell out of the screenplay, but it also seemed like he had a really good intent behind it. He inhabited the character for so long through the whole TV show and then all these movies. If you're gonna get advice from anyone about the passion for the Star Trek world, it's probably best to get it from that actor. And the movie didn't end up that good, but it sounds like it could have been worse. So thank you, Patrick Stewart. Well, this is a great list.
Yeah, I liked it.
This is a great list. Lauren, you can learn a thing or two about how not to be.
Yeah, I will watch more of these.
Guys, you can subscribe to The Real Rejects. Click that notification bell. Subscribe to WhatCulture. More importantly, anything you do with your life, you got to check out Lauren on the social medias. Her YouTube channel, her Twitter, her Instagram,
Facebook.
Her Facebook.
Discord.
It's Discord.
Pinterest.
I didn't even know what
LinkedIn.
Discord was till 20 minutes ago.
Patreon.
Yeah, her Napster account, her AOL AIM account.
Yeah.
I would like to shout out a man named Luke Anderson.
Ooh.
It's a little backstory with Luke Anderson here, Lauren. He is not from California, but he has a really successful job.
Okay.
He's a FedEx manager, guides, instructs leadership.
Amazing.
Dad's a pastor. Him and I were having these deep conversations on Patreon back and forth for the longest time. It's been about, I want to say 6 months at minimum. I haven't heard back from him.
Wow.
I've been shouting him out every single month. Can you just say a couple of sentences? As maybe if a woman asks him for attention, he might give me attention back again.
All right, Luke Anderson, I love your name. It just sounds really, really just good looking. Someone a really good-looking guy. Greg has pitched you really well. You have a good job. Come from a good family. If you really love Greg and you want love from the universe, please do us a favor and reach out. It just takes one message, one DM. Where do you like to get your DMs?
Oh, on my Yahoo account.
Your Yahoo account? Not your IG?
Yeah, not my IG. Yeah, my Yahoo inbox.
Okay. What's your Yahoo inbox? I don't think I even have access to that.
Yeah, I can't say it on camera. It'll get demonetized.
Really?